Thank you for joining us this morning and welcome everybody. My name is Samantha Perry. I'm a technology journalist and PR specialist and member of the Comms Cloud PR and marketing team. I will be your MC today. Thank you again for joining us. Africa's transport, security, and logistics sectors are moving online and becoming AI enabled at an incredible speed. But connectivity hasn't kept up, and devices are going dark at the worst times, at international borders, on remote roads, or even worse, when there's an incident. Today, we're going to explore how to fix that with African-built connectivity, OEM alignment, and real partnerships. Before we start, though, a few hygiene issues. Please ensure your mic is on mute if you are not talking. And if you have questions, we have a Q&A button at the bottom of the Zoom call. Please put them in there and the team will pick them up so that we can address them at the end. Thank you. And now I'm privileged to introduce our speakers for the day. We have Niraj Balwaria is the Deputy General Manager of International Sales at Novus High-Tech, which is an OEM in the field of autonomous robotics and advanced vehicle safety systems. Emil Kluti is joining us from Zambia. He's the IT manager at BHL Haulage, a leading transport and logistics company that operates across sub-Saharan Africa. Chika Swali is joining us from London. He's the co-founder and VP Asia Pacific and Africa at Flow Live, an enabler of IoT services for MNOs, MVNOs, and IoT service providers. And last but not least, Peter Walsh, founder and MD of Comms Cloud, your African IoT service provider. This morning's agenda is not particularly long or complicated. We're going to start with company introductions and then move directly into the panel discussion after that. As I said, the audience Q&A will be at the end, so please put your questions into the Q&A button at the bottom of your screens. Cool. Niraj?
Yeah, thank you, Samantha, for the introduction. While starting with the company introduction for Novus High Tech, I thought why not start with something that everyone can relate to in the audience. We see there is more than 1.35 million deaths every year on roads because of road accidents, right? And while number may seem small or big to anyone who is relatively comparing it with anything, but then this costs 3% of the global GDP, and that's a very, very huge cost, right? So, what we set out at Novus High Tech is for identifying, whether there are ways to prevent these accidents before they happen. Is there a proactive way for us to kind of look at these accidents, find out ways where there are, lesser near misses, lesser accidents? And yes, today we have the solution with AI that we can predict these accidents, we can stop these accidents from happening before they do, and that's what as a company we are gearing towards. Novus High Tech is part of High Tech Gears, which is a listed company in India, and we manufacture our own hardware and software, which helps fleets optimize their overall journeys, help them operate on the roads much more safe than what they were doing earlier. We have installed more than 100,000 20,000 units already, analyzed more than 7 billion kilometers of data, and every month the devices that we have installed, they prevent more than 200,000 road accidents from happening. All of this comes along with dashboard analytics. We have seen multiple cases. Like I was very recently talking to a client of mine in Nigeria, and they have implemented our solution in just around 50 vehicles, but then on all of these 50 vehicles they've had zero road accidents, while their overall average over 2000 total vehicles that they operate is much higher. So these numbers that I'm just presenting here: 50% fewer road collisions, 50% cost savings, 80% lower speeding, are things that we are able to achieve in reality through the solutions that we provide, right? And now I'll talk about our features a little bit. So the devices that we sell, the devices that we are putting on these fleets, basically they come with two-way communication. You can even live stream videos, and Comms Cloud has been a huge enabler for that as well, to implement the data connectivity part of it. And we can live stream videos even when the vehicle is moving across cross border locations, even when the ignition is off. We provide alerts for cabin occupancy. We also are equipped with AI based facial recognition, which helps you, identify if it's the right driver driving the vehicle. Fatigue detection has helped. Like drowsiness, yawning events are also provided along with the camera. Plus, the camera, what it does is, while you'll get like a after the fact report saying that a particular event or an alarm has happened, the camera is an edge computing device, and what it does is it does the computation within the camera itself, so that whenever there is, say, someone who is tired, who is drowsy, a driver who is not wearing his seat belt, whenever such an incident happens, the camera then and there sends out an audio alert, so that the driver can, just wake up if, in case he's falling asleep, right? So these are the kind of things we are able to do through technology today. And it's been a great partnership with Comms Cloud to kind of enable this solution across the African continent. Yeah.
Thanks, Niraj. Emil?
Hi everyone. So BHL is a leading transport and logistics company that was founded in 2004. We operate throughout the sub-Saharan region of Africa. We specialize in end-to-end border freight solutions. Technology plays a central role in how we run our fleet. Over the years, we've invested heavily in advanced telematics while partnering with companies like Comms Cloud powered by FlowLive. We use advanced AI video and live satellite tracking systems, as well as integrated data systems that give us full visibility of our vehicles across multiple countries. This high-tech, data-driven approach allows us to operate safely and predictably, even in Africa's most challenging networking environments.
Thanks, Emil. Pete?
Yes, thanks, Sam. Comms Cloud, as an IoT connectivity provider, is very focused on Africa's connected future. We really have a vision for that. We deliver business-to-business scalable IoT connectivity with global reach, but our real strength is understanding Africa. Its mobile networks, the operators, the challenges around all of that, and especially we've built our knowledge base around cross-border operating environments. It's a vast area. I don't think people really understand. As a team, we bring more than 25 years of experience around SIM management, IoT devices, and collaboration with partner channel to the table. And we use this experience to curate solutions for IoT connectivity that actually works, especially for high demand use cases. As I said, in a region that's extremely challenging, to put it mildly. Through our 8-year partnership with FlowLive, they really are technology enabler. We address the unique connectivity challenges. We went about it in a unique way. Let me put it that way. We have purpose-built IoT infrastructure that FlowLive brings to the table. And we have wrapped a managed service layer around that. And we'll talk about that today. Our solution is trusted, tested, flexible, scalable, and it focuses on cross-border operations through multi-network resilience and redundancy. We can ensure reliable real-time data for video and telematics devices. Look, I'm biased, but the solution, in my opinion, is unmatched in Africa. We do not see ourselves as a SIM provider. We support our customers across Africa with 24/7/365 human support. And we are building, innovating, and stretching to deliver this unique offering to the market across Africa. Literally one country and one mobile network at a time. I'm not exaggerating. I met FlowLive 8 years ago in Barcelona, and it's really been hard yards building what we have, and we're very proud of it. We focus on ensuring our customers have access to people who understand device, understand the entire ecosystem, the SIM, the network, the firmware, the use case, and all the operational pressures that are surrounded by that. In short,
Thanks, Pete.
okay. I'll call
Sorry,
it
you were
quits.
saying in short, I rudely interrupted your last sentence.
I think I've said enough. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Pete. Jika, over to you.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you, Samantha, and thank you to everybody who's joined. So yes, just to add to what Peter was saying, we have built this network in Africa, and it's built from the ground up to deliver the IoT success, to deliver the connectivity that's needed in order to operate successful fleets, okay? And in essence, what we are doing here is we are enabling our partners with communications technology, which is secure, which has global coverage, but with special focus on Africa with all the challenges that are there. We have done this by underpinning it with robust infrastructure to make sure that critical use cases are connected and connected all the time, and with unparalleled support. So you can, any IoT innovator anywhere in the world can be served by us. And some of the highlights and who we work with are, we're currently serving over 60 mobile network operators themselves, MVNOs who are sitting underneath these mobile network operators, service providers globally and in Africa as well, okay? And because we own the whole ecosystem, we have deployed over 80 core networks worldwide. Now, this is huge because that means that we have a global coverage with our whole technology, which allows us to make sure that the use cases are served correctly. And we have distributed multiple local breakouts across 30 countries, and we will talk more about that, why that's important in order to deliver this success. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Jika. Cool. We will move straight into the panel discussion rather than talking at you this morning. First up for BHL and Novus, what are the most common challenges your customers are facing when it comes to rolling out across multiple countries?
So yeah, thanks Samantha for the question. Hello everyone again. So there's quite a few challenges that you can see on the slide as well, which Samantha is Anna is presenting. But then Africa itself has a lot of its own challenges. There is rugged terrain, there is infrastructure challenges. There's so many countries which have different providers for mobile networks, and having them all of them working in conjunction becomes a huge issue, because you might be at a remote location near Joburg, and you might have MTN working perfectly fine, but then there might be another area where there's one telecom operator which is working fine, but then the other telecom operator is not, and you are using their network connectivity, right? And that's something that happens across the African continent. As much as I've traveled and seen that, and it becomes very important that you are with the right partner who can allow switching from one network provider to another network provider, and that's what we've experienced with ComsCloud as well. So that's part of a very big part of the problem. Apart from that, yes, you need rugged hardware, very good hardware that can help with connectivity across these multiple networks. We have the hardware at Novus High Tech to kind of help with that. There are very high data costs when you're operating cross country, cross borders, right? And that's something that we've been able to mitigate to a great extent through the partnership that FlowLive and ComsCloud bring in.
Thanks, Raj. Emil, maybe you can share from your point of view as a customer what that looks like.
So for BHL, the biggest challenge for us was keeping our fleet monitoring solutions connected throughout the entire journey. We operate around 600 trucks at any given time through multiple countries through Southern Africa. So that's a lot of data coming from various IoT devices, such as the AI dash cams. As we all know, they push quite a bit of data. So there's a roaming cost to that as well, where in the past we struggled to keep all of those cameras online throughout the different countries. That was one of our major challenges, and purely just the unreliability of cross-border connectivity throughout Southern Africa. I think on your slide here, we're highlighting two of the biggest barriers, which comes down to connectivity and cost, and both of them directly influence our operational safety, visibility, and then ultimately profitability. On the left, you'll notice the core connectivity challenges across Africa's transport corridors. We deal with harsh and unpredictable conditions. There are long stretches with cellular blind spots, especially in rural regions. Even when coverage exists, power outages can often take network towers down offline without warning. That is where the Comms Cloud Flow Life solution really works for us, because we're able to switch to multiple different network operators. Another issue is reliance on a single mobile operator, like I just mentioned. If the network goes down, our vehicles lose visibility, and then that's the biggest pain point for us. From a second point of view on cost control, traditional roaming models before made cross-border operations extremely expensive. Roaming fees varied by carrier and country, and they were also notoriously unpredictable. So month-end billing often had some nasty surprises for us, especially when it comes to the video telematics side. These challenges forced us to look for something smarter and more unified, a solution that would give us predictable cost and consistent connectivity.
Thanks, Emil. So, not to put you on the spot, Peter and Diego, but why is it still so difficult for fleets to stay reliably connected across borders in Africa?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to address that. So we know about the network pain in Africa and why the devices are going dark, which is why we're here to kind of explain and see how we've faced this challenge head on and been able to overcome it. Okay. So the biggest issue when you're doing these transport corridors, as Emil will know and Neeraj will know and Peter knows very well, is the trucks or the fleets are going cross-border, and the handovers between network bands and roaming agencies are causing a lot of nightmare. As you're driving across multiple countries, there's a network handover, and this creates a huge issue because you are handing over from one network, and if you don't have connectivity, then it's not going to work, okay? And we see this multiple times. So this is what we saw at the beginning of when we were defining this challenge and this problem, and that's one of the biggest reasons, okay? Local SIMs, whilst they're good for local transport and fleet companies, work. But here we're talking of Africa and hundreds, thousands of trucks moving across sub-Saharan Africa, SADC, across the transport corridor, and the local SIMs are not scalable. Africa is a vast continent, multiple countries, multiple operators, multiple bands. So local SIM is not fit for purpose for this use case, okay? And Emil just referred to one of the biggest challenges he has, which was a roaming bill shock for high data devices, okay? In case you do have a local SIM and you are able to use data cross-border, then you have no idea what it's going to cost you because, you are in the middle of an operational, crisis and you need to send data, the driver's sick, the truck goes offline. And this roaming bill shock is a huge problem. And this is why people are unable to operate successful fleets, okay? And last but not least, which Comms Cloud has done very well, is to simplify what is a very complex connectivity and operational requirement for these fleet operators and OEMs to actually operate in this environment, because the OEMs' focus is to build the best hardware. The fleet operators' focus is to run their fleets successfully, safely, and make profit. And here, what Comms Cloud has done is bring that together with Flow Live and ensure that this complexity of all the challenges that we have, simplified it and package it together in order to enable both the OEMs and the fleet operators to get to where they need to get to, honestly. Peter?
Thanks, Niraj. Pete, would you like to add to that? You're on mute still, sorry. I need to have t-shirts made saying you're on mute. I'll
Thank
make a
you.
fortune.
So just 3 quick points on this. You know, for me, we understood the problem very quickly. We saw the shift happening early, the fleets, the AI, the cameras, and I kept going to FlowLive and saying this telemetry is great, it works, and pushing for change, you know, saying to them we need high data volume plans. And even this map, as I'm looking at it right now, it's out of date by about 3 or 4 countries. So just to any misconceptions around the map, we cover the world. We've got coverage across the whole of Africa from a telemetry perspective. But with the challenge and the vision we have was build an IoT connectivity layer for Africa's fleet and security. And the fleet and security were going in a different direction, and nobody was covering their pain. We had to bring the cost down and get the coverage up. So you can't do that on roaming SIM. So our vision became around our Cloud Connect SIM was a SIM that acts local, prices local, and stays online anywhere in Africa.
Thanks, Pete. And on that note, let's talk about multiple multi-MC SIMs. That's don't try to say that fast. Beyond the tech, what do multi-MC SIMs actually unlock for African fleets that they didn't have before?
Right. So let us, in order for me to answer that, I will just do a quick overview on what the multi-MC SIM entails without going into the technical details and boring everybody about IMSIs. So the multi-MC SIM allows us to bring in all the different operator identities on a single SKU, on a single SIM, which then allows us to connect to the multiple operators and provide this high availability connectivity, as we call it, okay? So you can see on the left-hand side, the slide shows you that you have a single SIM, the form factor of the SIM we're agnostic to, but the single SIM will now take multiple identities, or IMSIs as it's called, from different MNOs and put it together into one nice single SIM card. And we are now complementing that with the satellite coverage. As Emil said, there are corridors in Africa with no cellular coverage. So we do need to complement this for critical use cases with satellite coverage. And we have very strategic partnerships with the satellite connectivity providers to bring this, okay? And the idea is that we built this infrastructure, built the SIM card, and deploy our core networks, as you can see globally, to connect to our FlowLive cloud, okay? And sitting behind this as a nice holistic system is we have our real-time rating and billing engine, which allows us to make sure that the costs that are visible to our customers are not only in real time, but accurate, okay? So that they know none of this bill shock business in here, okay? SIM management. Yes, you have a lovely SIM with all this connectivity, but if you're unable to actually do anything or manage the SIM, then it's a little bit pointless. And on top of that, connectivity management, okay? As we know from the challenges, we have multiple operators. We are constantly working with Comms Cloud, with the MNOs, and with the operators on the ground in multiple countries to enable connectivity and increase this coverage across Africa. So connectivity management in real time is very important, because what one use case may need is not the same as what the other use case may need. So the whole idea is to bring this FlowLive solution and bring it together as a nice holistic system in order to enable this. Okay.
Thank you. Pete, I think that's you.
Yes.
I managed to get myself off mute. Okay. So, so from our side, fixing the connectivity gap was not just about the SIMs and the coverage and the cost. So We focused a lot to unlock for the African fleets. We focused on building our OEM library. We see it as a critical part of how we guarantee always on connectivity. If you ask Neeraj, he said to me, "Yes, it's hard to do business with you guys because we have to onboard our device and figure it out." But now he understands why. His devices work everywhere. You know, it protects the ecosystem. It's a validated ecosystem. The firmware understands the complexities of the IoT SIM. The IoT SIM understands the device and they work together. It's like a tune for performance. So we educating the market on what's possible if you invest in a IoT connectivity provider as opposed to an MNO SIM. And we've seen our architecture cutting costs by up to 70% and delivering better performance. And you know, why we love FlowLife is because they give us that resiliency and the redundancy. The SIM manages the autonomous switching. Every operator profile that you saw, or an INSI as we call it, on the SIM card is its own core network in itself. So when MTC goes down on network 1 in Namibia or Congo, the other operator commercials and profiles take over. So the redundancy is just baked in, and the autonomous switching is baked in to this ecosystem. I mean, if you sum it up, FlowLife gives us the engine and we build the vehicle around it. You know, the managed service, as we like to talk about it. And we make it as simple as you can make such a complex ecosystem with our real-time monitoring, our troubleshooting across device, SIM, network, usage optimization, and our support. I like to claim we've got the most advanced IoT infrastructure in the world, and we have turned that into a managed service ecosystem that works for Africa.
Thanks, Pete. Emil, can you, having experienced the Comms Cloud FlowLive partnership in action, what business impact has this had since BHL has moved across?
Absolutely. So since BHL shifted to the Comms Cloud FlowLive model, it's had a really good experience on our business. The first and obvious and most immediate change was stability. We no longer experience the connectivity drops that we were seeing while using the single operator SIMs. Our control room now has far fewer blind spots, which means for us faster interventions, better security, and smoother cross-border operation, especially in terms of cameras. Before, it was always a struggle to keep cameras live throughout the different countries. Now we're able to live stream all of our cameras and keep eyes on our drivers and cargo for safety. The second major benefit has been predictability of cost. Before, roaming fees were inconsistent and difficult to budget for. With the Comms Cloud FlowLive model, our connectivity costs are now stable, unified, and much easier to manage on our side. Finally, and also a big one for all of our techies, we saw a massive improvement in the operational efficiency. With the FlowLive platform, we've got one singular web platform that we can manage all of our SIMs through all of our devices. It's got advanced diagnosis capabilities, so we can see what's going on with all of our SIMs and devices in real time and understanding any issues that may arise.
Thanks, Emil. One for you, Neeraj. What made Comms Cloud the right partner to support your clients' connectivity needs, and how does that partnership work in practice?
Yeah, thanks, Samantha, for the question. So, basically, this has been answered by Peter, Jigar, and Emil over the previous, points that they have raised. But to summarize, we have customers who don't experience bill shocks because of these high roaming charges that can occur across different providers. They're able to switch between network operators wherever needed, right? And they've had to face very low downtime through this particular partnership, and that's what we as manufacturers of dashcam want, right? Our dashcams to be delivering the service that they are supposed to deliver, and that can only happen if there is, a proper network connectivity in place. And I think that's how I would like to answer the second part of the question. In practice, this partnership works in this way. Basically, Novus High Tech is the OEM which manufactures the hardware and the software. We deliver our services, our platform globally to clients across the world. In the SADC region, what we have found is a trusted partner in Comms Cloud who can enable these high data volume dash cameras to function, right? And essentially, there's four parts of the solution, as Emil would also understand. There's hardware, there's software, there's data, and there is local support, right? So Novus High Tech takes care of the hardware and software part of it. We enable our partners to to register with Comms Cloud, and Comms Cloud basically takes care of the data part of it. And the local partner just has to worry about, the local support of, ensuring that the devices are working. There are other issues that happen in practice when the devices are installed that fleet operators are very much aware about. So,
Cool. Thank you very much. And I'm not sure, Jigo or Pete, which one of you wants to start with this one. But looking across the deployments that you've been involved in, what are the factors that contribute to successful cross-border fleets in Africa?
Maybe I can start with the technology readiness, and I'm sure Pete will kind of complement me here. So, I think it is key to understand that at the heart of this, without the technology, none of this is going anywhere. Okay, so we, with Comms Cloud identifying the issues and the coverage gaps, we've chosen infrastructure that's built to address the unique coverage challenges are in Africa, the local breakouts, the multiple packet gateways, the core networks across Africa, the selection of mobile network operator partners who will give us multiple coverage across these important countries and across these important transport corridors. Okay, this is something that has taken a long time. It's something that, as Peter quite rightly said, was identified quite early on, but it's something that's taken a while in order to get here, but we are constantly, it's something that we cannot sit still on, so it's something that we need to continue to do. Peter, I think with the hardware onboarding is something that you've done very successfully, very well, with regards to this.
Yeah, look, it's the hardest thing we've done. I mean, all the other challenges were really easy, but the hardware aspect is a very difficult one for a SIM provider to understand. And we realized very early on that if we wanted to deliver a successful service to our customers, if we didn't understand the ecosystem, how would we do that? It's education and a willingness on the customer side to invest in the ecosystem. We have lots of global players, as you know, on multiple continents using us, but they've been in the business for 25, 30 years. They understand the ecosystem. They build their own equipment, many of them. But our average customer in the 1,000 to 10,000 SIM mark, they buy original equipment from a provider, and the providers are very slow in educating the customer around this transition from MNO SIMs. My favorite saying is, but I put an MNO SIM in and it just works. Of course it does. That's what it does. It connects, it registers, but that's all it does.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think, in just closing on this slide, the key to success is a willingness to invest in an ecosystem and to understand and own the fact that it's an ecosystem. It's not a SIM, it's not a device, it's not a firmware, it's not a use case. It's a complex environment. And the moment the partnership owns that, we see a scale without issues. No linear support required.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and also I'd like to add that I think taking connectivity or putting connectivity or looking at connectivity as a strategic asset is key in order to have successful fleets. Okay, people are not. It's almost an afterthought, and as Peter quite rightly said, people put MNO SIMs into devices and say it works. Or they look at connectivity just as it's a burden, it's an afterthought, it's something nobody wants to deal with, or it's an extra cost. Oh, now I need a SIM card. Well, you can build all the nice AI edge, cameras that Neeraj's company Novus would build. You can have all the trucks in the world that Emil's company's got, and if you do not have connectivity, none of that data is getting from A to B. Okay, so connectivity, if it's not adopted correctly and if it is not viewed as a strategic asset, then it is going to be a big reason for not having a successful fleet across Africa. Okay, and again, just the last final point is just to add to what Peter was saying, the clarity and ownership on the value chain. Who's making the hardware, who's providing the connectivity, whose trucks are there, and who's packaging this together, which CommsCloud is doing very well, so that everybody knows their position, everybody knows what they're doing, but together it works to deliver what we've seen is a very, very successful partnership across Africa. And we will use this as a blueprint to continue to grow this with many other companies across Africa and MNO partners to grow the coverage.
Thanks, Chico. I think that's it's an exciting time to be in the space. It's a long-standing problem, and it's nice to see that it's growing, scaling, and being solved fast. So the $1 million question, and I'm going to open this up to all of you, but let's start with Neeraj. If you could give one piece of advice to a fleet about how to scale connectivity across borders, what should they think about first?
I think a simple, very short answer would be work with CommsCloud. But then to kind of tell the audience why we prefer CommsCloud. I mean, they built a platform which is transparent, and the team is very responsive. So I think when you're thinking about connectivity, you want the right partner to help you do it. Having transparency on pricing, having transparency on multiple other issues, whether it is with respect to different regulatory issues that you have across different countries that you're working in, right? And typically, that's the kind of partnership we have seen with CommsCloud, and that's the kind of partner that one should be looking at to work with to ensure that they can scale cross-border connectivity.
Thank you, Emil.
So from an end customer's perspective, I would say you need to ask the question, which platform gives me automatic multi-network coverage, predictable region-based pricing, and real-time visibility without relying on a single operator? In our experience, the CommsCloud powered by FlowLive model ticks all of these boxes. The multi-IMSI technology keeps our vehicles online throughout every corridor that we operate in, and the unified platform gives us the control and consistency we simply just didn't have before.
Awesome, thank you. Pete and Chico, I don't think you can say it better than that, to be honest, but if you do want to add to it.
all I can say is I love it when a plan comes together. Because it
Now
really,
you're dating yourself.
it was a strategic decision that's cost a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and it's beautiful to see it working. And the support we get from FlowLife globally, it's just amazing. And we have customers in OEMs in China and India asking us for assistance, and we carry stock there. We just ship them SIMs to test, and it's just been a journey, and it's still, we're on that journey, and it's difficult and frustrating and time consuming, but we're growing, and we're growing our coverage, we're growing our footprint, we growing our knowledge, and it's just carry the advice to the fleet guy is there's always a way, and just keep pushing those boundaries.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Pete. Chika?
Yes, but yeah, Neeraj said it in one word, partner with Comms Cloud. And just to add, it's been difficult. It's been a while for us to be able to actually bring the OEM and the customer to a webinar and tell them their experience, showcase their experience, because Peter and I can sing all the praises we want, but here we have real world applications about what all the effort, all the investment that's been happening from all these years. When we started this journey, I had a lot of hair and it was black. Okay, so I'm here now with a lot less hair and very white. But we have on the other side, Neeraj and Emil, who are able we're all benefiting from all the hard work and efforts that have gone into it. It is a continuous journey, and it's a journey that is delivering success. And we have two people here who can vouch for that. And the idea is there is educating the fleet operators, educating the OEMs, and showing them what's available, but also identifying the unique challenges that African connectivity poses is key to making this whole thing successful. Yeah.
Thank you very much, all of you. I'm now going to open the floor to the Q&A section. I have 3 questions so far, so if you do have any burning questions, please do feel free to type them into the Q&A box now, so we can get to them. I'm going to open this up to all of you, so feel free to address. Our first one is from Anoop, who says, is there a need for some leading companies or countries in Africa to aggressively sign up to IoT connectivity to give the signal and encourage others that this is the new standard, and also to bring up the floor of the fleet? Additionally, are there plans for the panel companies to provide significant training to allow companies to maintain their standards, and particularly to allow self-learning? Sorry, I think that's 2 questions. So, yeah, is there a need for leading companies or countries to aggressively sign up and show the rest of the continents and perhaps the planet that this is possible?
I think I can lead, and then Peter, I'm sure, will want to add to that. Yes, absolutely, there is a need, and I think this is the education that Comms Cloud is doing very well across to essentially educate about IoT connectivity and show that we've identified the challenges and how we've addressed them successfully, and showcase a use case here for fleet managers. And absolutely there is a need for that. Okay. And all the panel companies here are more than happy to provide additional information that may be required, whether it's getting Emil to talk more about how he started the journey and where he's ended up, how he wants to scale, which he's spoken about, how you can work with Neeraj and Novus to be able to take their OEM product and use that for your fleets across Africa or even globally, okay? Or work with Comms Cloud and FlowLive to take this connectivity and not only apply it to fleet management, but to security and to tracking and other use cases, whatever the use cases. The idea here is we've fixed the coverage, we've simplified the complex operational issues, we've clarified the cost here, and Comms Cloud is bringing this as a nice managed service with their experience, with their 24/7 support, and having the knowledge of being in the ground in Africa. So Peter, please.
Yeah, look, from my perspective, knowledge and training, is there a need? It's baked into what we offer, and it's not easy. We're having to reinvent ourselves around how we present data as we scale and educate 400 customers, across like a vast geography, in 3 languages, and we don't have it right yet, but there's a huge need for training and knowledge sharing in the IoT space, and yeah, and so we do provide it, and it is challenging. That is true.
Thank you. Next question comes from Sean, who wants to know, how do you deal with locations that have no GSM coverage?
I think
Again, happy,
Giga can
yeah,
answer that.
sure. Yeah, happy to answer that. As you saw in one of the earlier slides, Sean, we are complementing our GSM coverage with satellite because we recognize there are black spots where we have no cellular coverage. So we have partnerships with satellite coverage companies that allow us to bridge those gaps. And obviously, that's one side, is to be able to provide the satellite coverage. But again, the idea here is it only works if the ecosystem is complete, because the OEM needs to have hardware that is capable of tapping into the satellite connectivity. Okay, the fleet operator should be willing to invest into the higher priced OEM hardware, because if you're going to enable satellite connectivity, there's going to be additional costs. And also from Comms Cloud perspective, the higher cost of satellite connectivity needs to be passed on to, again, the fleet operators. So if everybody isn't in sync here, then this is not going to work. So we are covering the gap, but we are only one part of the solution here. Everybody needs to buy in to understand, okay, there is a black spot. How do you solve this black spot? With satellite, higher cost, hardware advancement, and the fact that it in itself has unique challenges compared to cellular. But that's how we're solving the issue.
Yeah, and
Thanks,
if I can add to that, Sam, and for Sean's benefit and the audience's benefit, I would just like to say that Africa, the satellite providers have not started covering us. The ones that have had the narrowband IoT integrations are a little bit slow in covering us, but we have Skylo globally. Who else do we? The only one I've seen on our rate sheet to date is Skylo. I know they're more in the works, but Skylo don't yet cover Africa. But we're fully integrated already.
Thanks, Peter. Our last question is around regulatory challenges, which were mentioned earlier. Can you set that out in more detail? I think the context there was that Emil and Niraj were both experiencing regulatory challenges with cross-border legislation and regulation, and that the Comms Cloud Flow Live solution solves that. But perhaps Emil or Niraj, you'd like to talk to what the issues are, and then Pete and Giga can pick up the solutions element.
I think from our side, it's very simple to have a single supplier and provider to deal with, and they actually deal directly with the regulatory authorities instead of having connectivity or SIM solution, and you have to work directly with each network operator in each country where the regulations differ and operations differ from country to country. So for us, it's simple. We work with Comms Cloud, and they take care of the rest for us.
Thanks, Emil. Niraj?
I think it's the same what Emil just mentioned. Comms Cloud takes care of regulatory issues that we have to deal with across multiple geographies, and that kind of allows us to operate freely without having to worry about them, because they already have the partnerships in place with different telecom operators across the region.
Perfect. Pete or Giga?
Look, I have some closing words I'd like to say, Sam, before we go off. And I see
we have one more question. Sorry, Pete. We cannot leave Wendy hanging.
Yes, and we got Wendy as well. But we only work with networks that are compliant from a regulatory perspective. And our localization strategy with the MTN IMSI that we use throughout Africa has really played a big role from a price and a coverage perspective, and that continues to grow. But we only work with companies that are GSMA compliant and from a regulatory perspective.
Thanks. Jiga, do you want to add to that?
Yes, I can quickly add to that. Yes, and just to complement what Peter is saying, FlowLive has become the largest connectivity provider in the world, not by fluke and not by working with workarounds. We work directly with the mobile network operators to enable this connectivity. They give us the connectivity, the profile, the IMSIs that runs on our infrastructure. So they are fully aware of all the use cases we're serving, and they are very, very helpful in making sure that we are successful, okay? So these large MNOs, tier one MNOs who we work with are obviously fully regulated, fully compliant in all the countries that they operate. And
Sure.
and not only do they make sure that they enable us or give us the IMSIs and the connectivity to sell, a lot of these mobile operators now use the FlowLive technology to sell IoT connectivity for their retail and their customers in their respective opcos as well. So it's
Nice.
now a very true two-way partnership. Okay, so yeah, that's all I wanted to add there. We can
Thank you very
answer
much.
Wendy's. Yeah.
Yes, so we have one last question from Wendy, and then we're going to wrap up. Wendy says, by having multi-IMSI with different MNOs, do you set up a connectivity priority with the MNOs based on the strongest network? And all the MNOs are on cellular IoT or satellite? As most of the MNOs are cellular, do you apply steering? I think that's you again, Jiga.
Yeah, happy to answer that. Yes, the business logic to connect to different operators is set by the customer or the use case. So yes, absolutely, we apply steering or what we call preferred networks. And this can be done via our SIM management. Again, I showed you the slide earlier saying with our remote SIM management, we're able to change and update the logic on the SIM card or the steering on the SIM card or on the core network based on different use cases, availability of networks. If we get a new network that's a bit cheaper or has better coverage. So the answer to a question is yes, we apply steering. The customer defines the steering. We obviously guide them and say, based on our experience, you'd want that. And the definition of this is done either via the cost or the coverage, or actually determined by if the hardware can connect to 2G, 3G, 4G, or what have you. Again, conscious of time, so I hope that answered Wendy's question.
Yeah, I think
Thanks,
it's
Jiga.
really important to understand from a SIM perspective and from a network perspective, we can steer as much as we like, Jiga and audience. But at the end of the day, we provide the networks, we provide the CMP, we provide the ability to steer, and the ecosystem has to adapt to that as well. The device needs to understand what it's looking at and to be able to play its part.
100%.
Thank you.
Agreed. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. I believe Pete would like to close with a few words before we let you go and everybody can enjoy the rest of their day.
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending. I really want to say a heartfelt thanks to our customers and our partners like Novus High Tech and BHL and many others, and FlowLive for your support in growing this all-important market to us, and for the Comms Cloud team. You know, I've got the best team in the world looking after you guys. Everybody pulls their weight. People you don't even know sit in the background managing billing engines, processing, procurement, doing administration work, keeping the networks up. You know, you don't notice it, but we have outages all the time. And it takes a team effort, and we've got a great team. And without them, we'd be nowhere, and without you, we'd be nowhere. And thanks for attending today.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you, Niraj, Jiga, and Emil as well. It's been a fascinating conversation. If anybody would like to find out more, please do visit the Comms Cloud website. Otherwise, you can reach the guys on LinkedIn and through the invites. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all. Enjoy.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.